Hello and welcome to the I Am podcast for the Independent American Mama. I am your host, Shaina Mysliwiec. The Independent American Mama was created back in 2021. It started off as a small family blog back when I had 4 children and was pregnant with my 5th son. It was meant to be a place to share our journeys with our family and friends in a central location, and became all that I was obsessed with. I could not stop thinking about my blog, our memories that we were creating as a family, and with that, loads of ideas were flooding in. I wanted to teach other moms how to do things that I was doing based off of where I was at in my journey. Like how to get creative like I was, how to make yummy foods like I was, how to make homeschooling easier, and tons of other ideas that I started playing around with. And one of my ideas was to create a podcast where I can sit and chat with other moms and gain knowledge for myself and share with other moms who may also need or want to hear. I really didn't know how to start a podcast, and I have always had a problem with speaking in public and sharing my truth. However, the last year and a half, my family of 7 at the time has been traveling the United States, speaking with many different communities, and I was able to have heart-to-heart conversations with so many beautiful individuals. I have seen how people from different parts of the country interact with one another, and the desire to share and develop this podcast grew inside of me every time we got to a new place and met all of these new people. Well, to get up to speed, my family and I live in northern Missouri. My husband and I will be celebrating our 10 years of marriage in a month. I'm a mama of 6 beautiful children. I have a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 5, 4, and 2-year-old. They're all handsome and energetic boys. And on Halloween this year, I gave birth to my first little mini. She's 2 months old now, and I feel like a brand new mom. I'm just learning how to be better for myself each and every day. With this being the pilot episode for the I Am podcast for the Independent American Mama, I have an amazing guest with me today, and I have a small bias. She's my beautiful sister-in-law. Shaina is a talented wedding and elopement photographer with a heart full of passion for capturing love stories. She has mastered the art of freezing precious moments in time. And as a new and devoted mother, Shaina is passionate about fearlessly pursuing her dreams while embracing the joys of motherhood at the same time. When she's not behind the lens, you can find her exploring the outdoors with her family. And let's not forget the fuel behind her creative spirit, her undying love for coffee. Welcome, Shaina. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you today.
You are my first person to talk with me on my podcast, and the reason I chose you is because you are super easy to talk to. You're like my favorite person to talk to. You're super fun.
Oh, thank you.
No, and you have this energy about you that I really think this podcast needs right off the bat. And so thank you for being willing.
Geez, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight on my shoulders. Now I'm excited. Thank you it's an honor to be the first one.
Well, I would like to get to know you a little bit. I know you, but the people listening don't know you at all. So can you just introduce yourself a little bit? Who you are? Your daughter, she's going to be 2 soon, isn't she?
Yeah, she'll be 19 months this month. I think so. I think after they turn 1, counting months is too hard. We should just say 1 and then 2.
I heard this
2-2-2
rule, which is she's 2 weeks until she gets, or you start counting weeks until she gets to 2 months. And then when she's 2 months, you start counting the months until she's
2 years.
Yeah. And so, which
like
is so
that.
weird. It's like an unspoken rule. I've already been doing it, but
it is weird. I think I hated it before I had a kid, and then once I had her, I started doing it myself, and I was like, man, I just became what I hated. But yeah, she'll be 19 months. She's like the best thing ever. We have so much fun with her. But yeah, I'm Shaina. I'm a new mom. I do wedding photography and elopements. I live in East Tennessee with my fiance Thomas and our dog Atlas, who is my spirit animal.
Oh,
And that's kind of like the base of it, I guess. That's a real quick introduction, but that's
oh my
like
God. Do you have a
that covers
date?
me to
Do you have a
for
date
what?
set for your marriage?
Oh, for our no. We were just talking about it a couple days ago. I think we're gonna try to elope either I want to say next year, but we'll see what happens. But we want to either do the Cayman Islands or Tybee Island, Georgia. So depending on which one, of course, means that we might have to wait a little bit longer or not.
For
But
sure.
I definitely want Riverly there, and I want her to, be kind of like a part of it, a big part of it. So I
That's
think it'll be funner if we wait a little bit too, because she'll be a little older.
yeah. Oh,
So
that's
we'll
awesome.
see. Hopefully in the next year, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, we eloped too. That was fun. And that was
Mm, I
pissed a lot
love
of
it.
people off.
I love it, especially doing photography, like doing weddings and stuff. I think elopements just have a different feel about them. Like it feels like the couple is there for just them, and really it's their moment. And weddings just feel like chaos, and you're there to please everybody else but yourself. And I hate that feeling. I
Oh
just
yeah.
don't want that.
We're not entertaining everybody else. It's for you.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I love that. So you're a photographer. How's that going for you, being a mom?
Um, it is, I wish there was like one word. It is hard. It's very hard. I guess that would be the word.
Okay.
It's it's good and bad. I feel like when I first started, I used to be able to just carry her around with me, which I still do. She's a year and a half and I still take her with me every once in a while. But when I first started, I was doing portrait sessions and it was easy to just put her on my back or put her, in her little carrier and take her with me. And she enjoyed it. And half the time she'd fall asleep. But they were shorter sessions. But now that I'm doing more weddings and elopements, it's a little bit harder. I have more photos to edit, which means more time on the computer, more time that, I'm not focused on her. Longer weddings. So, Thomas has to be involved more, which he's a very involved father, but that's a long day. It can be
Yeah.
anywhere from 6 to 12 hours.
Oh yeah.
So, it's hard, but it's enjoyable and it's something I'm really passionate about being able to pursue. And I think one of my biggest things in being able to be a photographer, be able to pursue something, is that I wanted something for myself that pulled me away from just being a mother. Because I'm big on just, you were somebody before you were a mother. And I just think women, we get so caught up in just the beauty of being a mother and the hardships of being a mother that we tend to kind of put ourselves on the back burner. And so when I started photography, that was like my one thing. Or when I became a mother, that was my one thing, is like I just wanted to make sure that I could differentiate myself between being a mother and being Shaina.
Yeah.
And you can be both at the same time, which is wonderful. And that's what I'm trying to do. And it is hard. I will be very honest about that. but but I think it's very important that for women especially to find something they're passionate about and chase that while being a mother. And you can absolutely be both. And there needs to be more conversation about that.
There totally does. I am so glad that you said that. That is like the perfect message that anyone listening is just for them to hear, for them to take away. They just take away that one little bit. That's the most important thing. I'm really glad that you
Yeah.
said.
Well, and not just for us either. I think it's important for our children to see that we pursue passions. I mean, we can tell our kids they can be anything and you can dream big and do all of this, but if they don't see us do it, like where's the proof in the pudding?
Yeah.
We have to walk the talk.
Yeah, we got to be that example. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I love that. So you would say that then the editing takes the most time for you.
It does take the most time, and if I've had to be kind of like a stickler about it recently. I think in the beginning I just was so in love with what I was doing that immediately I would come home and download the photos and edit immediately. And I didn't care if it took me 3 hours, 4 hours. I'd be like, it's okay, we really. And she was younger, of course, so it was easier to pop her on a boob and just be
Yeah.
like, go to work.
Hmm.
But now that she's older, I've started to realize that when I open my computer, that she's craving my attention, or when I pull my phone out to, do social media. And I'm not on social media to cruise. I'm very good about being on social media for business purposes, but even still, I get addicted to the fact that like I need to make a reel or I need to do this. And I've just noticed how much she sees it. And so I've had to be more of a stickler when it comes to that and pull myself away and like only do it when she's napping or only do it when she's out with daddy, and sometimes it's like a 10 minutes. I might get one photo done or two photos done, but I've had to, instead of telling my clients, that I can have their photos done in a week, which is what I used to pride myself on, it might take 4 weeks or 6 weeks. And I've had to just kind of extend, I guess, my professional side a little bit in order to take care of my family side.
Absolutely.
Which again falls into like, you can do both. You just have to have boundaries on both sides.
Yeah.
But I have noticed, when my computer is closed, I have to be very present with her because I try to sneak it. I'm not perfect. I'll open the computer when I think she's busy and she immediately is like, mama. And then I know I have to close it. And like, I think that is the hardest part, I guess, when it comes to balancing. I think balancing family life and my professional life is knowing when to be present and when to have a business side, because I do think it's okay to open my computer and tell her mommy needs to work right now. But I think to set those boundaries and not cross the line of them continuously back and forth, it's confusing to her, it's confusing to me. And I get more frustrated if I know there's work to do and I can't do it. So it's better if I'm just like, hey, I have 2 hours at 5 o'clock to do it. And then the rest of the time I'm just her mom.
Yeah. No, totally. I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old who get at us the most when it comes to electronics. As soon as I open my computer, don't open your computer, be present. And we'll be on our phones and they say, it's Sunday. You said we can't be on electronics, which means you can't be on electronics.
They're calling you out.
They are calling us out, and oh my goodness.
They're calling you out.
And they all will. And they all will. That's why you've got to be that example. And
Absolutely.
you've got to be willing to walk the talk. If you're going to tell them it's time to be family, it's no time for electronics, you've got to make sure you put your vices away.
You have to. I know. They'll call you out on it. Learning that.
So you travel for photography, or do you stay in Eastern Tennessee?
I do. I do travel. I think there was a time, especially again, being a mother and just wanting to be home, there was a time where I just wanted to just do East Tennessee and just stick to that. Yeah. But the passion side of me, I love to travel and I just want to take my family with me, which is fine. I can do both. So I've just decided to extend, myself and do traveling. So I do destination elopements and adventure elopements and outside and inside the US. I just got done with one in Arizona. And next year I've got another in Arizona. I've got one in North Carolina. So I'm trying to get one in Bali. Anyone out there wants me from Bali or Belize, send me, send it my way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to, for sure. That's an opportunity also to bring my family with me and let them see the world while I work.
So how did you come up with that idea of destination elopements? Because I love that idea. It's super cool and unique. I don't think there's anybody else I know that does that.
Yeah, that's what's funny is when I was not in photography, I didn't see it anywhere. Like if someone had told me adventure elopements, I'd be like, what is that? But now that I'm in photography, I feel like every single person that's in photography does it. and it's a niche that I feel like I can't harness because so many do it. So it's like really hard. But there was just a girl on Instagram that I had found that started posting about these elopements she was doing from like sunrise to sunset hikes, and people would elope on these hikes, and the pictures she would post and stuff of just these beautiful wide sceneries and stuff just got to me. And I think for adventure elopements, like a lot of the appeal of the photography is very like aerial views and lots more landscape, and that just appeals to me a lot just because I love the outdoors. That's what I do on my free time and the traveling and whatnot. So I think that just got to me, and I was like, oh, so I wanted to tweak my whole style and tweak what I was doing. And so I went from like doing portraits and family sessions to doing weddings, into doing tiny weddings, into doing elopements.
That's inspiring. I've been a photographer for 13 years now, but it was like a full on, like that was my business for the longest time. And then it became a side hustle. And I think now I only do it if I just want like Christmas cash. Like I just want to get some
Just a
extra
little
cash.
side money. Nothing wrong with that. And you're still good at it. It's like you can put
Yeah.
your camera away for a while and you pick it up and you're still good at it,
Yeah.
which is great.
No, it's nice. I like it. And that was probably the hardest challenge for me, having it be my full-time job, was my husband having a job as well and
Mhm.
having to balance like his work schedule. And I had to make sure it also worked with the family I was shooting for and
Yeah.
maybe babysitters, and whatnot. And that was always the most time-consuming thing for me. And it sometimes distressed me. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing any sessions this week or
It's a
this month.
lot.
It
Well,
is.
and you don't have one kid like me either. You have five now, six
Yeah.
now. So it's a lot more challenging for
Yeah.
sure.
But I
Um,
think we've gotten to the point where it's just now it's really easy. I schedule with the people based off of our schedule and him getting home from work. So I've kind of stuck to mini sessions because they're a lot faster and I don't spend an hour
yeah,
and
you
a
can
half.
get done and get home quick.
Exactly. So what do you like best? Is it mini sessions? Is it the full day adventures? Like, what do you like the
Oh,
most?
such a toss up. It's such a toss up. I feel like that changes depending on, I guess, on like how many I have booked. If I have a lot of sessions booked, I would rather them be mini sessions because I feel like I'm an overshooter, so I shoot a ton of photos. So I can get a lot of photos in 30 minutes. And then my energy is very high. And so I feel like after 30 minutes, I'm exhausted. And sometimes I get done and I'll get done with the session and literally they're posing, doing something, and I'll just be like, okay, we're done. And
Yep.
that's like, I think I shocked them. They're like, oh, you're done? That was quick. So
Yeah.
like quick sessions for me are really like efficient and like good. Like I can get it done and then I go home and edit and whatever, and it's much faster. But if I have very few on my calendar, then I would like them to be longer sessions so we can take our time and do something more adventurous. I like to curate couple sessions to something that like is unique to their relationship. So whether it be like going to an ice cream shop or going downtown somewhere, like a whole date, like I like doing something like that so we can just take our time and really create like authentic photos rather than something rapid fire. So it kind of does depend on, I guess, on like what my booking schedule looks like.
I love that. When you advertise, I've noticed that you will use your daughter as a model.
Yeah.
I think that's so
She's
cool.
not great at it.
She's so cute. It's adorable.
Uh,
I love them.
she is adorable, but it is a headache to try to get photos. I think it's different when you're using your own children because I have in my head what I want it to look like. So I'm like, no, sit still, do this, do that.
Perfection.
But when I'm doing a session with somebody else, it's like, no, let them play. Don't force them to do anything.
Shaina has an awesome eye for photography. She captures the most stunning photographs. When we were traveling to the East Coast, we spent a few weeks with Shaina and her beautiful family, and I could not pass up the opportunity to get our family pictures taken. I was 13 weeks pregnant at the time, and she helped us with our pregnancy announcement photos. With my 5 wild boys, I was so happy to see so many beautiful photographs of my children playing and smiling. It could not have been any better. She was so fun to be around with the kids. They loved her. And she has so many creative prompts for me and my husband that developed into the most stunning poses, capturing these beautiful memories that I will be cherishing forever. Okay, so Shayna is located in East Tennessee, and right now she is offering 25% off her wedding and elopement packages through the end of January for New Year's. You guys need to jump on this deal. You won't be disappointed. You can go to her website at gypsyvows.com. That's gypseavows.com. And you can follow her on Facebook and Instagram for any future deals that are right for you. Just look for Gypsy Vows. So, Shayna, what is the number one highlight of motherhood for you?
Oh, it's hard to pick one. Like honestly, everything. I think it's gonna make me cry. She I wouldn't cry. She's just the best little human. She really is. Oh, makes me tear up. Um, God, I'm a baby after motherhood too, but I just like all the tiny moments, like literally the little milestones of like the look on her face when she understands something. that was stupid.
No.
And we applaud her for like everything, and she gets so tickled and just like proud of herself when we cheer her on. And it's just adorable.
You're gonna make me cry.
But I know, and you just had your first daughter, so this
I
is
know.
the best. No, she's wonderful. She's literally just our constant teacher. Like she's remolded me as a person, and she just makes me better, and she just makes me better at just existing every day, you know. Oh, so sad. So yeah, I can't pick one. I think it's just I waited a long time to be a mom, and she just came at the perfect time.
Yeah. Well, moving on from the tears,
Moving ahead.
the greatest challenge of motherhood for you, what has that been? Like your biggest lesson?
I think the biggest challenge is to remember myself. Like I had talked on earlier, is making sure, you know, you do something to identify as who you were or are as a person before and after motherhood. I think that's really important. And so I think my biggest lesson is just remembering to take action to be myself, and not just remembering, but like actually taking action. Because it's easy to say, you know, I want to do this today and then forgetting or putting it aside. But to actually put action behind it, you know, even as simple as painting my nails. Like, I think I'll paint my nails today, you know, just instead of saying, I think I'm going to do it, just do it. And I think just that is huge. It's easy to become resentful in motherhood. And I hate to even say that, but it is. It's easy to become resentful and feel trapped and feel like everybody else gets to have a life but you.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. And so,
yeah, at that point, you can start blaming other people and pointing fingers like, oh, it's your fault.
Yeah,
I can't do
it
this
is.
because of
And I find
you.
myself doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. The blame game. It's really easy to do. So I think it's important, not just to think about yourself, but to take action behind that. And to make like to kind of talk on that also, I think that's hard. And it's not easy to, you know, I don't get the freedom to just say, I'm gonna go to the mall by myself, or I'm gonna do this by myself. I'm sure you don't all the time either. You've got a slew of kids. So I think
Walmart
for
is
me,
my shopping, my escape is going to Walmart.
There you go. But I think to make it easier is just learning how to do things for myself with her in tow. I've had to learn that I don't have to be by myself to enjoy things for myself. I just have to do them differently. So sometimes, you know, I don't know, do something for myself, but include her or involve her, or again, put her on my back. You know, I can still hike, I can still paddleboard, I can still do all these things. I just have to do it differently, and to kind of like reprogram my brain on that. And I get to take her with me rather than I have to take her with me is big.
No, that's totally big. And that's, like we said, being the example. You got to show them how to take care of themselves. You can't just take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You got to show them what it means to pamper yourself. And with little girls, paint her nails, let her paint her nails, and
Yeah.
take her to the spa. You guys both can relax. And yeah.
And having them watch you work out and do, you know, yoga or whatever, like, and it instills those habits and qualities into them, which I think is just so important.
No, 100%. I totally agree with you there. Yeah, my boys working out journey, my boys have understood what the body does now, and they're super young. And when they started understanding all of this, they were even younger. And they got
I
it
remember
down.
seeing pictures of them like meditating by themselves and stuff, which I love.
No, they
That's such
do.
a proud moment.
Yeah, it's just what we've taught them to. When mom meditates, they ask questions, and I have to jump on that moment to answer those questions so that they can understand for themselves.
I love that. Yeah. And it makes sense. It must have made them feel something watching you and doing it with you, that they wanted to do it on their own. Like, I love that.
Oh yeah, totally. My oldest will ask to go walk around the block several times. He just wants that moment. And so I say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I love that.
What book would you recommend somebody? Because we've kind of kicked off of each other, bounced off each other. I know you believe
Yeah,
in personal development
I
and
do. Absolutely.
how much of an impact that has on creating that time for yourself and being your best self for your business and for your children and your spouse or fiance. And what book would you recommend somebody who wants to change their life and just craves that change? What would you recommend?
I have, I swear by this book. It's been a while since I've read it, but it was the very, very first book that I ever read, like when I decided to just kind of take on like a personal journey of any sort. At the time it was, fitness and development in a different business. But for me, the book is called The Compound Effect. I think you've read it. That I swear by that book, and I think everybody should read it as like your first go-to book too. It's very much it talks about how the choices we make every day influence the outcome of our lives. And I mean, even the small little steps as this podcast, like this is a progression, a step towards something bigger for you and maybe something bigger for me, but taking actionable steps in your life every day that are going to compound on each other and create something bigger for you. And I think that's a book that it's been a while since I've read it, but I still, when I think about that purpose or that, I guess, basis of the book, it kind of brings me back into like the moment and kind of helps me take action every day. Like right now I'm creating a course for photographers to help new aspiring photographers learn how to pose and do things naturally and gain some confidence within themselves. And that's something every single day I have to do something toward, or my imposter syndrome gets the best of me, or I just don't do it. So going back to this book, I think about that at the end of the day. Even I'll be like, what did I do today that's moving the needle forward for me? And sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes I didn't do anything, so I have to, whether it's posting something on Instagram so my marketing is moving forward, or booking a session. But this book is really, really kind of the grounding point of that whole like thesis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend that for everybody.
Yeah. No, I love that. And kids right now need to also know what their choices do and like what choices they make and what kind of consequences and rewards they gain from making those choices. I actually had a conversation with my 8-year-old. He watched his older brother get angry and storm away and how his dad responded to him. And I dissected that whole scenario with my 8-year-old, and I showed him what choices were made in that moment. And he was in awe with how many choices were made in 5 seconds.
I love that.
It's so crazy.
Kind of breaking it down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we need to understand that for ourselves too, because sometimes we can get overwhelmed and not realize how many choices we're making in 5 seconds.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I have to do that. I have to do that with really every day, like just the way that I respond to her. And sometimes my patience when it's weaning a little bit, I have to do the exact same thing. I'm like, why am I feeling this way? What did I do to get here? It's usually coffee. It's usually too much coffee.
Oh my goodness. Well, Shaina, this has been awesome. I really hope, I think there's somebody out there that really needed to hear this today. I really do feel that. And I think that you have a really important message to share. And I'm really grateful that you came and spoke that today.
Thank you. Me too. It was fun.
It's okay to cry.
I had a good time talking to you. I cry every day now. It's just a thing.
Well, thank you for being willing to be open and willing to share those tears.
Absolutely.